Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Now that we've gone from fresh face to fresh foundation, just in case you guys wanted something a little bit extra on your face, I thought I'd add also my bronzing routine. I change it up a little bit from time to time, but my base technique revolves around the Kat Von D Shade and Light contour palette. So I use a basic kind of powder brush. It's one that is not as rounded. It's pretty thick bristles, not too thick to where it deposits too much product and it's harder to blend in. Again, this is part of my random Groupon bajillion and one brushes for $1 deal from Allure. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this middle shade right here. It has a very nice like terracotta shade, and it's just a nice warm tone bronzer, and I like to add warm tones to my face. There are cooler tones bronzers out there for cooler tone faces, so look out for that if you are cooler toned. You again kind of lightly tap it. I'm not much one for swirling in these powders because Kat Von D's powders are stupid pigmented and I don't like a lot of fallout. We like the powder, which costs a lot of money, on my face and not on the floor. So again, just some light taps, and what I'm going to do is almost outline where I'm going to warm out my face with this product. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of tap around where the warmth is going to be. So as you can see, I'm doing more of like, I guess, a boomerang shape. I'm starting out near my temple area, working down towards the top of my zygomatic arch, on top of your cheekbone, I guess, and then working it down to where I would usually like to contour. This is again warming up the face. This isn't a chisel contour part of it yet. This is just kind of warming the areas and creating that background transition gradient for when you do actually contour. So again, just kind of warming the face, tap a little bit more. Now, if it helps you at all, you can always go ahead and do the fishy face when you're doing this part too. This is definitely important in the contour section, but for this part, if it helps you find your cheekbones, if you don't have prominent ones, I don't really have prominent ones per se, but I've been doing makeup for a long time, so I just kind of know where they are now. So you can just kind of do like a and now I already have a little bit of a warmer face. So the part of this is to also see, you know, now it's summer especially, bronzing is super important. So basically it just makes you look like you went outside, in case you didn't. So for me especially, I'm in the lab all the time during the day when it's so beautiful outside. So bronzing really helps me look as if I've actually walked outside during the day and got warmed up with the sun's kindness. So what you also want to do is, if you would like to extra define your jaw and also your chin, add a little, just a little bit, and lightly do this. You don't want to look like you fell into the bronzer, you know, chin first. So just kind of a light dusting on that chin area and your jaw. Just to give it a little bit of extra definition. Now to the contour part. Get out my tried and true Sephora number 74 brush. This is super dense. It is a small rounder brush and it has a lot of bristles, so it's very dense, but it's also very smooth. I'm very picky when it comes to my brushes in terms of texture. I really only like the softer toned ones, softer feeling ones. Morphe is really great with that. I'm hoping for a contour brush in my next Morphe Me subscription bag. But until that comes in, I'm using my Sephora brush. What I'm going to do next is you can either create an extra gradient with this color. However, because this is more cooler toned and I want to kind of keep it warm, I'm going to use the darkest shade in the palette, which is more of a warm chocolate brown. And with that being said, this is the darkest color in the palette. So what I'm going to do is literally one tap, and that's it. Tap out the excess, and I like to build with my bronzer because if you put too much, it is such a hassle to try and take it off your face and start over again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right back here where my ear meets my cheekbone area and lightly dust up on where my cheekbone is. And you can already see the definition. You can already see it. Even with just that little bit, already created a contour. Cheekbone, cheek-ish, right? So now I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. Remember, one tap. Tap it out. Now what I don't like to do when contouring is bring it all the way down to my mouth. I personally just feel like that just does not look natural. You know what I'm talking about. Then what we're gonna do is, after we have our, put a little bit more, our defined cheekbones, what we're also gonna do is add a little bit of dimension to the top parts that we used before. So again, I'm only gonna use a dab of that, tap it out, and kind of more feather it on the sides of my face. And of course you need to finish off your bronzing helmet, as Katie from Lustrelux says, and Denise Perkins. I'm going to go back in with that terracotta shade with the same brush because it has a little bit of product left over from the darkest shade, and now I'm adding the terracotta shade, and we're just going to lightly dust the top of my forehead. And you're probably thinking, why would you do that? That's so weird. Why would you put that on the top of your forehead? Think about the last time you got a sunburn. Did you notice that you actually had more of a burn near the top of your scalp? That's actually the top part where the sun hits your skin, aside from the rest of your face, but that is the side that would be darkest if you happen to have gotten a tan. So next on the list is for blush. So next you have two options. Some people put highlighter on first, then blush. Some people put blush on, then highlighter. Either way, you basically get kind of the same look. You get more of a subtle highlight when you put the blush on top, and you get more of a, wow, you have highlighter on today. It looks great. Get real with it. I'm going to use the coveted Jaclyn Hill Becca Cosmetics collaboration Champagne Pop face palette, and as you can see, we have a lot of these beautiful colors to choose from. There's this more of like a mocha kind of blush. There is the Rose Spritz, which is on the top right. We also have Pamplemousse, which is a very bright pink color. It really depends on your mood if you're going for a bright blush kind of day or whatever. But I do remember on Jaclyn Hill's Snapchat, she mixed Rose Spritz with Champagne Pop, and she also mixed it with Prosecco. Now, because Champagne Pop is more of a warmer toned highlighter, and I'm keeping my face pretty warm with this tutorial, I'm going to use that and Rose Spritz together. So I'm going to use my blush brush, and I'm going to start in the highlighter container and kind of work it a little bit back and forth. Now, whenever you put blush on, you always want to make sure you start a little bit and build up, as with everything else, because blush, especially if you put too much, you'll look like Raggedy Ann, and you don't want that unless it's Halloween and that's your costume. Now, if that is not enough highlight for you, which we all love to glow, right? I like to use my Morphe M510 brush. That is this one right here. Believe it or not, it is actually an eyeshadow brush. I like to use it for my highlighter because it's really great to get into those small spots like your nose and things like that, and your Cupid's bow. So we're gonna work on that. I'm gonna use actually that same highlighter that I used for the blush, Champagne Pop. So I'm gonna take my M510 brush, and I'm going to add the highlighter to other points of my face. I'm going to add it to my nose, add a little bit to my forehead, because again, we're looking for that natural, where the sun hits your face kind of glow. And my favorite part, after dabbling a little bit extra on my nose, is the Cupid's bow. Look how much of a difference that makes. It's almost like a milk stash, but with sparkle, and it's okay. And there you guys have it for my full face technique now. I went from fresh face to foundation, and I added my bronzing routine, blush, and highlight. I like to use my Morphe the M5. Believe it or not, is swizzle it, swiggle it, wiggle it, squizzle. What should I say?